What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Daft Previews, and today I invite you into the crib and I'm going to take you through each and every game, and together we're going to find some NBA player props. Now, I'm switching it up. I'm not going to preview every single player, every single matchup, because it is heavily time consuming, and to be honest, it has not been working for me, so we're switching it up. I haven't looked at these lines yet, so this will be the first time I see them, and on this video, I'm specifically looking for players. I'm not just previewing everyone. I'm looking for bangers. I'll take you through every step of the journey. I'll share my different screens, whatever web pages I use, and hopefully we can find some bangers. Now, if that sounds interesting, let's go. All right, we're straight into Outlier. We've got 4 games to get through today. And if we can find some picks quickly, then it'll be a short video, but most likely it shall not. So stay tuned. Get your pen and paper out. We're going to go through this Cleveland and Magic game. Very early set of games for this upcoming slate. So I apologize if I'm getting this out to you late, but let's go through it. So I haven't played with any filters. Just looking through this game, the first filter I know I want to apply is just to get these odds right. Filter out the rubbish ones. Minus 150. Let's see what we find. What I like to look at is trends first. What are the last 10 games looking like? Who's hit and what? We've got Jalen Suggs here, under 1.5 turnovers. He's hit in 10 consecutive games, and you're getting plus money for that. I wonder what's going on here. Now, we have to look into this. All right. So, yeah, 10 consecutive games. He's gone under 1.5 turnovers. But on the season, though, 45% hit rate, meaning he's gone over 1.5 turnovers 55% of the time. So there's definitely something going on over these last 10. Minutes seem to be there. If we look at the head-to-head history, he's versed the Cavs how many times this year? Three times. He's only played the Cavs 3 times this year, and he's gone under in every single game. So that seems quite interesting to me. If we look at how the Cavs force turnovers, 12 turnovers per game, 2.7 shooting guards, which is not good. They actually allow quite a bit of turnovers, but that's an interesting look. So Suggs, not too many turnovers. There's no other extra metrics that I'd use, to be honest, to find out whether this is a good play or not. We'd really just be betting it because the hit rate is so good. But I'm going to add this to my short list anyway. I'm not completely sold on it, but the hit rate is pretty good. So I'll just pop that down. We'll dive into some other stuff. What do we have? We've got Franz, under 10.5 rebounds and a assist. That's been hitting very well lately. Let's take a look. Now, that last game where the Magic wiped the floor with him, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. So he has cashed the under 10.5 rebounds and assists in 9 out of his last 10. In head-to-head matchups, it's cashed in 7 out of his last 10. The concern for me is that the Magic's they have favorites for this game again. 2-point favorites, total points lines at 201. So Magic favorites, and if they go ahead and smack the Cleveland Cavaliers again, I'm a little bit concerned with this. So this is not going to be a play that I take purely for that reason. So one thing you're going to notice, I'm not looking for reasons to take these bets. I'm trying to be a bit more selective. Let's find reasons not to take them because I get a little bit too excited sometimes. Evan Mobley, first quarter stuff. I don't want to muck around with those, but the hit rate on these two are good. Mobley and Donovan Mitchell assists. Actually, the Mitchell assist one could be a good play. I actually had this as a lean in the last game against Orlando. He had been hitting 2 for a very long time. 8 out of his last 10. He's hit it in 5 consecutive games against the Magic. So all of those games were this season. So yeah, I was actually really considering this, but then I was like, oh, it might be a little bit of a sweat. But in that most recent game, they did all they could to stop Donovan Mitchell from scoring in that first quarter, and they slowed him down quite a lot, but he was diamond up. So if we see a repeat of that, because if Donovan Mitchell's not scoring, it's good news for the Orlando Magic. That could be a really good play. So I do like that. The 5 assists in the first quarter he had. So we only need 2, and it's plus money. I might be sold on that one already for Donovan Mitchell, to be honest. We've got Franz under 4.5 assists. So similar to his rebounds plus assists, it was hitting quite well into that very last game. Absolutely demolished the Cavs. So I'm not interested in playing with that. Max Strus in the first quarter. No, thank you. Banchero in the first quarter. His 2 assists, minus 108. So you got better odds for Donovan Mitchell compared to Paolo Banchero. Now, he's cashed this in 2 out of the 3 games they played this year, but I'm not overly excited by that. His rebound prop could be an interesting play, though, Banchero's. He rebounded extremely well in that last game, that's for sure. So let's take a look. So his line's at 7.5. First 2 games in Cleveland, he had 7 and 3 boards. That last game, because Cleveland couldn't get a bucket, he had 14. Now, I do expect Cleveland to shoot a little bit better. Keeping in mind, because it was a blowout, he only played 29 minutes. So, yeah, the rebound play could be a nice one here for Banchero. The Cavs offense not doing too well on the road at the moment. As the Cavs offense struggles, good opportunity for the Magic players to get some more boards in this one. So, yeah, I don't mind this one for Paolo Banchero, to be honest. Cavs, they are a good rebounding team, but so are the Orlando Magic. Now, I want to take a look at his games at home. So, his last 10 games at home, averaging 7.8 boards. 6 out of his last 10. When he's versus the Cavs at home, he's been great. 3 out of his last 4, averaging 9.2 boards per game. This one game where he had 3 rebounds was a 27-point win to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I feel that's highly unlikely in this game, given what we've seen so far this series. I do expect more than 29 minutes. I'd expect the Cavs to keep this game a lot closer, keep Banchero on the court. But, yeah, these rebound opportunities are definitely there for Banchero. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all these to my short list. And then by the end of the video, I'm going to go back and see which ones we can eliminate. Really, we'll go over them once again with a fine-tooth comb. Having a look at his assists, and there's nothing I like about the assists here. He's gone under in all 3 games against the Cavs this series. He's gone under in 9 of 10 games. The over is plus money. The under's minus 142. So I'm not really keen on those types of odds. If we have a look, not really loving the Banchero stuff there. His points could be a good play, but he shot the absolute lights out in that last game. I don't know if he could do that back to back. Caris LeVert, I think he played all right off the bench in that blowout loss. Yeah, he did. 15 points and 3 assists in that game. So his points and assist line is at 11.5. He's cashed in 8 of his last 10 and 79% of the games this season. Having a look at his minutes, 29 minutes in that last game. He only played 20 and 25 in the first 2 games of the series. I'd probably project his minutes to 25 minutes in this game. But if we muck around with these filters and let's say he plays 2 more and 2 less, let's go between 20 and 27 minutes, we shall say. 20 and 27 minutes for Caris LeVert in that bench role. On the season, he's covered this line at a 71% hit rate. 17 of his last 24 games when he plays this range of minutes. So in his last 10, let me go to 19 to capture that other game. There we go. 19 to 27 minutes. 68% hit rate on the season. Only 5 out of his last 10, though. And against Orlando, this 1 minute up. Yeah, it hasn't been the greatest. So Caris LeVert, he did have the one strong game, but I don't want to overreact because of one good game. I also don't want to react because of one bad game. So let's see what else we can find here. This Caris LeVert's points have a good hit rate. Max Strus rebounds and assists. So that's dropped down to 7.5. I know he had that really poor game. 1 rebound, 1 assist. But is the opportunity to run it back there with Max Strus? 7.5 rebounds and assists. I'm going to open up the box score real quick to look at the last game, Cavs versus the Magic. We'll get into the box score. We'll look at the tracking data here and we'll see who was grabbing a lot of these potential boards because it definitely wasn't Max Strus. All right. So I've got the box score up from the last game. And if we look at rebound chances, Max Strus had 1 rebound chance that whole game, which is unbelievable. Actually, a lot of these Cavs players had jack all rebound chances. Donovan Mitchell probably had a lot, 9. As a guard, he's quite a lot. Mobley had only 8. Allen only had 14. I think he was up in the high 20s in the first 2 games. And if we look at the Magic, Banchero had 19 rebound chances in that game, which is no surprise. He got 14 boards. But a lot of Banchero's rebounds are uncontested. So if he can keep the rebound chances up, there's a good chance of him covering his line. So, yeah, Max Strus, only 1 rebound chance. So that is a little bit of a worry on the road. So I'll probably choose not to play him right now. But if you're just going on form, he's covered this in 8 of his last 10, averaging 12 rebounds plus assists. Absolutely terrible game. There should be a bounce back in it, but there's a lot of things that need to happen in order for Max Strus to get rebounds and assists. So I think points probably the best ones to play. There's probably less factors involved. With Max Strus to get rebounds and assists, firstly, what does he need to rebounds? 1, he needs a lot of missed shots, and preferably a lot of missed shots from the Orlando Magic, and we don't want them to be from Franz Wagner because that's who Max Strus is defending. And then he has to get the actual rebound. In order for him to get the assist, 1, he has to have the ball, he's got to make the pass, and then whoever he passes to needs to make the shot. So There's a lot more variables involved in that. And as the Cavs are not favored to win in this game, I'll probably steer clear of anything like that for a lot of these players. So might look at some unders perhaps for the Cavs players, some overs for the Magic. It just seems to make the most sense to me. But the game should be close. I don't want to predetermine things that way. I'm having a look at the box score right now as well. Let's flick this over to the box score and see what do we see last game. So we know Banchero went off. He played extremely well, shot the ball amazingly, but had a lot of volume, 26 shot attempts. Franz Wagner only had 16 points, 8 assists, 5 boards. He only shot the ball 12 times. Jalen Suggs, 24 points. He was 9 from 11, 3 from 5 from deep. Now, I don't know if we get that level of productivity from him. Keeping in mind, he only shot the ball 11 times. Now, that's probably in line with his average, so I wouldn't be overexcited by that. He just had an insanely high field goal percentage. Markel Fultz off the bench had 11 points in a strong game. Cole Anthony also covered his line off the bench. So I think he could be a good look because he's somebody who's getting like 16 to 20 minutes per game. He's taken shots, but that field goal percentage has been a worry. Back at home, he's clearly showed some improvement. So let's jump back into Outlier. Let's have a look at Cole Anthony. All right, here's Cole Anthony. Let's have a look at his points prop first. So 6.5, and you can get plus money for that. Now, he did score 10 points in that last game, 4 points in the first game, and 0 in the second. So he's cashing only 4 of his last 10, but in head-to-head matchups against Cleveland, he's had a bit of success against them coming off the bench. 7 out of his last 10 games against Cleveland. The main ones I'm concerned about are probably from this one onwards. So his last 6 games against Cleveland, all of them were this season, and it's clear that he was in a bench role. He was playing reduced minutes in a lot of those games. If we look at his field goals attempted, we've got 6, 4, 8, 7, 4, and then 7. So if he can get, you're looking at maybe 5 to 6 shot attempts in this game. If he's getting 5 to 6 shot attempts, we need him to probably make 3. He is taking some 3-pointers as well, getting to the free throw line. So you probably just need about 3 buckets here for Cole Anthony. The question is, can he shoot 3 from 7, 3 from 6 perhaps? So I think the line's just about right, but at home, it might favor him. So let's have a look at his home games against Cleveland. Last 4 home games against the Cavs, 15, 8, 5, and 10, averaging 9.5 points per game. If we look at his last 10 home games in general, check that out. Last 10 games at home for Cole Anthony, 90% hit rate, 13.4 points per game. The only game he went under was against the Chicago Bulls, where he scored 6 points. He shot 2 from 8 from the field. So over his last 10 home games, he's shooting 50% from the field, which is pretty wild. His minutes, there are some games which are a bit elevated, so he played starter minutes in those. So let's filter his home games to where he plays at no more than 20 minutes a game. All right, last 10 home games playing less than 20 minutes. He's covered in 6 out of his last 10, averaging 8.4 points. In these games, taken 7.6 shot attempts, only shooting 39% from the field, 41% from deep, getting to the free throw line a fraction of the time. So, yeah, I think Cole Anthony could be a good play here. I don't mind that. I think I've talked myself into it. But before I I'll talk myself out of it at the end when we do a bit of a recap. So, all right, that's Cole Anthony's points. I wonder if there's anything on his assists. Did have 3 assists in that last game, but you know what? Let's go back into the NBA tab. Let's check out the potential assist numbers as well. Let's take a look. My bad. Switching it back to Outlier. I realized that Outlier has this type of stats. I don't know what I was doing on NBA.com. So had a look. Cole Anthony had 8 potential assists in that last game and only had 3. In the prior games, he had fuck all. So I'm not willing to play his assist prop. But I think the points prop for Cole Anthony could be the wave. I think that could be a good play based off what I've seen so far. Magic at home. He's getting minutes. He's taking the shots, that's for sure. It's just about that field goal percentage. And at home, shoots a pretty decent field goal percentage, and he's been covering that line quite well. So Cole Anthony, not a bad look right there. I'm just analyzing the box score to see what else do we have, who did what, and who can we expect to see a bounce back from. So let's take a quick gaze at it. Some of these Cleveland players, there should be a bounce back here. So we had Donovan Mitchell only had 13 points, 6 for 16. They did slow him down at the end of game 2. And they also slowed him down in game 3. So I don't know if the bounce back factor is there for Donovan Mitchell. Maybe they've worked him out. Karis LeVert was strong off the bench, but shot an insanely high percentage. But he also got a lot of garbage time minutes in that blowout. Who else do we have? We have Jarrett Allen. He only had 8 boards in that first game. And that last game. So I wonder what Jarrett Allen's rebounds look like in this. Let's take a look. So points wise, his line's at 15.5. That hasn't moved. He finished on 15 points in that last game, and the Cavs got blown out by 40, and he only played 24 minutes. So there could be a look there. 5 from 6 from the field, 5 from 5 from the line for Jarrett Allen. His points prop. There could be an opportunity because what we're seeing on the road here, Darius Garland still hasn't got it popping yet. Back problems still seem to be plaguing him. His volume's not there. Donovan Mitchell, they may have figured him out as well. So I did take Evan Mobley in the last game, but he was relying too much, I would say, on outside shots to get his points and didn't deliver. Whereas someone like Jarrett Allen, they can't necessarily stop him and slow him down. It's just a matter of how many shots can Jarrett Allen get up. So, yeah, Jarrett Allen points could be a good look. But let's have a look at his rebounds. So his line's at 12.5. So that hasn't moved. I think it was 12.5 last time, but now you can get 12.5 for plus money. In this game, he was tracking very well. He had 8 rebounds in, what are we looking at here? 8 rebounds in only 24 minutes. If you got his full complement of 38, pretty confident he would have gone close and over the 12.5 rebounds. So I think the other way we could look at this is his points plus rebounds could be a play. 27.5. He's also cashed that in 2 out of the 3 games so far this series. But I do think the rebound's probably the best chance. 18 and 20 rebounds those first 2 games. This last game against Orlando only had the 8 boards, but he only played the 24 minutes. So hopefully Cleveland can keep this one a little bit closer. I'm sure, surely they do. They can't get blown out two games in a row. That doesn't make any sense in my mind. There's got to be a bounce back. There's got to be an adjustment. There shouldn't be an ambush. The Magic should play better because they're at home, but Cleveland should be better served for it as well. So I think, the rebound prop here for Jarrett Allen could be a good wave. I think, if he can get 30 to 35 minutes in this game, get the same number of rebound chances he got in that last game. Actually, let's double check the rebound chances real quick because, all right, let's have a look. So Jarrett Allen, he had 14 rebound chances in 24 minutes, which are close to 0.6 rebound chances per minute. If we times, or 0.58 to be exact, if we times his rebound chances by the number of minutes he should play, which is where's the safe number? 35 minutes, I would say. Then we're looking at least 20 rebound chances for Jarrett Allen. Now, Jarrett Allen, if he's getting 20 rebound chances, well, if we just look at the ratios, really, 20 rebound chances and he needs 13 boards. Geez, I'm doing a lot of mathematics these days. So he needs to get 65% of the boards. 65% of the chances that are presented, that's what we need Jarrett Allen to hit. So I just jumped into the rebounding stats page on NBA.com. Looking at Jarrett Allen, well, the Cavaliers versus the Orlando Magic so far this season. And what he's seeing is a 63.9% rebound chance, 15.3 averages as a rebound chance average. And if I have a look at him on the season, sorry, it's actually really hard to talk whilst I'm trying to find something. I'm not just presenting the numbers on the screen. This is a lot harder than I thought it would be. So Jarrett Allen, 10.5 rebounds on the season, a 60% rebound chance, averaging 17.4 rebound chances. If I flick this to the playoffs only, what are we looking at here? Where is it? Let's look at his last 3 games. So Jarrett Allen, actually, I'm looking at regular season stuff. What am I talking about? Let's go playoffs. All right, now we're cooking. So that was regular season shit I'm looking at. In the playoffs for Jarrett Allen, 15.3 rebounds per game, a 61% rebound chance, 25 rebound chances per game. So in this particular game, I'm looking at if he gets his full complement of minutes, he could potentially get 20 to 25 rebound chances. Now, I don't expect the Magic to shoot the absolute lights out once again. Having a look at what did they shoot at to give me a good idea. And Orlando, 51% from the field, which is crazy. 51% from the field. So just had a look just at the Orlando Magic stats on the season. They're shooting 47% from the field this season. So the 51% up against this Cavs team is extremely impressive. They shot in the 30s, I believe, low 40s in the first 2 games. So there should be some regression here for the Orlando Magic. There should be more opportunities here for Jarrett Allen. So, yeah, this might be a play that I take. Jarrett Allen, you're on the list, my friend. I do like his rebounds more than his points, but, he should ball out. I do like his points once too, but let's not go too hard here. Hopefully, by the end of this video, I've decided on 4 to 5 plays. So we've got Jarrett Allen. Who else is somebody that we want to see? If you're looking at unders, you can probably look at someone like Darius Garland, who's been very poor at the moment. What's he doing? His line's probably dropped, though. So let's check Darius Garland's points line. It's at 14.5. He had 14 and 15 in the first 2 games. Follow that up with 5 points in that last game. He's still taking about 10 shots per game. He shot 20% from the field. So we should see an improvement here for Darius Garland. 25% from deep. So you'd have to be a brave man to take that play. The other option is looking at his assists. That line's at 6.5. 8 assists in the first game, followed up by 4 and 6 assists. So yeah, numbers not looking great for Garland. You could even look at a points plus assists. He cashed it in his first game, went under in the second, severely went under in the last one. We could look at his last 10 away games to see what's going on there. And yeah, 5 out of his last 10 away games, he's covered this line in. Away games against the Magic, 2 out of his last 3. So Garland has had some success against the Magic in the past. I know he might be a little bit injured at the moment, but I'm not willing to take that play on Darius Garland. So let's move on. Let's have a look at Jalen Suggs real quick. Jeez, I flipped to the wrong game. Jalen Suggs, where you at? All right. So we'll start with Suggs, his points prop. See what we can find in that. 14.5. So it's gone up by 2 points. His line was 12.5 in that first game. So at 13, 9, and then 24. So big bounce back from Jalen Suggs, coming back from an injury, but first game at home. Now, 16 shots in the first game was terrible. Only took 5 in the second game, came back with 11 and shot 82% from the field. But where is the baseline? So looking at his last 10 games, you're looking at 9.8 attempts. So that 11 attempts, probably a touch higher than what we'd normally see from Jalen Suggs in terms of attempts. 51% from the field, though. So does shoot a pretty good percentage based off his last 10 games. That 82%, yeah, unlikely that he can back that up and do it again. If we look at his numbers against Cleveland, he's covered this in 2 out of his last 9. So traditionally, Jalen Suggs going on the under. Now, if we look at the home games, he's cashed in 2 out of his last 5 home games. In those 2 home games, we saw a lot of attempts. One of them was a Cleveland blowout. So, yeah, like my gut feel tells me to take the under on this one for Jalen Suggs. The 14.5 is quite high. He's hit this at 40% of the time this season at home. On the season, he's hit it at 22%. So this is the playoffs. I get it. Let me have a look at his numbers real quick. His minutes. What types of minutes are we getting? 32, 29, and 27. So let's look at minutes between 25 and 33 for the season and see what we find. So he's covered this line of 14.5 in 40% of the games this season. When he's playing this number of minutes. In head-to-head matchups against Cleveland, when he plays this number of minutes, he's only cashed the over once. All of these games were this season and in the playoffs. Yeah, I think the under for the Suggs could be a good play here. That's what I'm thinking. Now I'm going to think about why it can't win. So why can't it win? It can't win if Jalen Suggs shoots an extremely high percentage, which I'm willing to bet against. It can't win if Jalen Suggs shoots a lot of attempts, right? He might be coming into this game confident after that last game, just willing to pull the trigger at anything that moves. So there's that too. There's also the fact that I've got Cole Anthony down as a points prop as well. So yeah, I'm not too sure about that one because I don't want to bet both Suggs and Cole Anthony to go over their points line. I have to look at Banchero's points, to be honest. That volume was just crazy. Now he came out, I saw a picture and a post from Banchero. Now he's got no weaknesses in his offensive game. I don't feel anybody shut me down. He's feeling himself. So in this series, 24, 21, and 31 points. Managed to score 31 points in 29 minutes. Shot the ball 26 times in 29 minutes, which is crazy. Volume is pretty good. 17, 20, and 26. The line's moved up only a couple of points. I think it was 22.5 in the last game. So it's gone up 2 points since this explosion. He didn't shoot that much better than what he had been throughout this series. 53%, 45, and 50. It's a strong percentage plus volume. Now, what can we expect to see? He took 17, 20, and then 26. I'd probably put him around the 20 mark. So Banchero shooting the ball 20 times. That's where I expect it to be. But I also expect Cleveland to make some sort of adjustments here. You can't just let Banchero run his mouth all day and run a train on you. So, yeah, Banchero, I'm a little bit hesitant to take. We got Evan Mobley. Let's have a look at Evan Mobley's points prop. That could be a good play here. 14.5. 5 out of his last 10. 2 out of the 3 games this series. In head-to-head matchups, 5 out of his last 8. So Mobley obviously didn't play the minutes he normally would, so he didn't take the same number of shot attempts that he normally would. Shot 44% from the field. But yeah, I think there's got to be a bounce back here. But I think Evan Mobley, I don't know, he could be locking in defensively. He's going to be the main man who needs to stop Banchero. So yeah, the point side of the thing doesn't interest me too much. His rebounds don't interest me either. Actually, let's have a look at his rebounds, because I was looking at the under for his rebounds in the last game, which I didn't take, but it's another one of those great calls where I make a great call and then I don't bet it anyway. There's too many of those happening. So let's have a look at it. His line's at 8.5. I want to look at the under here. The under has cashed in 7 of his last 10 games. Head-to-head matchups against Orlando, it's cashed in 6 out of 8 games. This first game, the Magic were bricking everything, so he got some easy boards. I don't expect the Magic to shoot that poorly in this game. The second game, he only had 7 boards. That very last game, he only had 2 rebounds, so I don't expect 2 rebounds, but based on his averages, he's getting 7 boards per game against the Orlando Magic. If we just look at his last 10 games, 6.8 rebounds per game. And if we look at the season, he's got crazy rebounding numbers. But as the primary defender on the Orlando Magic's best player, yeah, I think I've talked myself into this. I do like the Evan Mobley play. What are the things that we need to take into consideration? His rebound stats, his rebound chances. So I'm just having a quick look at the rebound chances. I don't want to drag this video on for too long because I figured this style of video might take even longer than my normal one. So I'm taking a look at it now. So Evan Mobley had 8 rebound chances in that last game, and he only finished on 2 boards. So a pretty poor for Evan Mobley in that one. Let's go look at game 2. So in game 2, where's my man Evan Mobley? He had 15 rebound chances, right? And he only finished with 7. And then game 1, I can only guess how many. Whilst I load this up, just guess. What do you think? How many rebound chances did he get in game 1? 20? 25 perhaps? Shit, there were heaps of them. Let's take a look. So hopefully by showing you this, it's something an activity that you can do when you're looking for picks. 19 rebound chances in that first game, and he finished on 11. So yeah, I don't think he gets 15 to 20 rebound chances in this game. At the rebound rate that he's got at the moment, I don't think he can get to 8.5. So I'm liking the Evan Mobley rebounds. We could have a play here with Jared Allen over rebounds, Evan Mobley under rebounds. So we'll come back to that and we'll decide. Banchero over rebounds. Jesus Christ, I've done it again. I've got a lot of leans. So we're going to eliminate a lot of these. Don't you worry. I'll come back and I'll eliminate them all. Before we just start clicking through players and doing what I usually do, let me just check the head-to-head numbers here. So this filter here just tells you the hit rate up against his opponent. So Cole Anthony rebounds and assists, cash in 90% of his games against the Cavs. That doesn't interest me at first glance. Banchero's under in assists. That could be a play. Like the Magic had their best offensive game in a very long time. Banchero still went under his assist prop. But there's a chance, right? The reason why I wouldn't take Banchero is he scored a lot in that last game. The Cavs they're not going to maybe they don't let Evan Mobley single coverage on him and they double him to force the ball out of his hands. That could result in some assists. So that makes me a little bit cautious. We could look at the Franz under 19.5 points, but I feel like the ship may have sailed on this bet. So he's gone under in 9 consecutive games against the Cleveland Cavaliers. In that last game, he had a lot of assists, didn't get a lot of minutes because of the blowout. If we look at his shot attempts, the volume is there most of the time. It's just that percentage hasn't been great. At home, this is probably not a play that I'm willing to take. But I think that first game back at Cleveland, Franz under in his points could be a good play. Banchero under his assists could be a good play. But it's not something that I'm willing to look at right now. We've got Mobley over his points and assists. 88% hit rate here against the Orlando Magic. So he did 7 straight before that last game. But, man, he finished on 18 4 times. So the line at 17.5, I'm not interested in playing that. A lot of Franz unders, Jonathan Isaac overs. But Jonathan Isaac's just been relegated back to the bench role. So having a look, he did have 8 points in that last game in 16 minutes. But he shot 3 from 5, which he hasn't done before. So, yeah, Jonathan Isaac, yeah, it could be a good play, but that doesn't have me feeling a certain way. And yeah, there's nothing else that's piquing my interest. So we've got quite a few leans on that one. Let's jump into the next game because I know, oh, shit, as I record this, a lot of these games actually start in a few hours. So let me try to wrap this up real quick and get it out to you. I just realized I was sharing the wrong screen. My God, I gotta get better at this. We're looking at OKC versus the New Orleans Pelicans. No lineup changes. Zion, the main concern here. Now, if we think about what's happened in past games, we've seen Chet Holmgren, strong scoring games. Valanciunas had some dominant games as well. Brandon Ingram, he's struggled a little bit. And Herb Jones, been knocking shit down from the corner. So let's go back to, I guess, the plays that have been working for us and see if they're still worth it, right? Because now we're playing in the land of the Pelicans. And the first one I want to look at, because I think this bet should be taken every single time, is for Herb Jones 3-pointers, but I need to see what the odds are. Let's take a look. Herb Jones 3-pointers, oh God, 1.5. He's minus 145 now. So it's kind of lost its value. I think it's something that he hits. So if you guys tailed, I did ladder old Herb here up to 4 3-pointers made, which cashed. But I don't think that same opportunity is going to be here. I'm just double checking my sportsbook now to see what type of odds I could get for it. And then if I can get pretty decent odds, it might be something I'll look a bit further into. But if I cannot, I shan't be looking any further. Herb Jones, yeah, it's not good. The odds are not good for Herb Jones 3-pointers. His points could be a wave. So lines at 11.5. Plus 120. If we dive a little bit deeper, what do we see? So he's cashed this in 6 out of his last 10 games. He's even hit this in 2 out of 3 games against OKC. Actually, these are all OKC games. 6 out of his last 10 games against OKC. And the last 2 games, 1 from 2. So very slow going in the first game. That second game, despite the Pelicans only scoring 92 points, he managed to score 18. If we look at his attempts, 10 attempts in the first game, shot poorly. And then he had 9 attempts in the second game, and he shot a lot better. He was 4 from 7 from 3. So there's a lot of 3-pointers coming out of Herb Jones. Actually, like 80% of his shots are coming from deep. So, yeah, I think if you're going to take the for Herb, if he's looking at 80% threes, he needs to make probably 3 3-pointers in order to cover this line, to be honest. So I feel like taking him for 3 threes is probably a better play, because you're getting that over 2.5 3-pointers plus 210. So that could be a good play. I'd probably put half of what you'd normally bet on that. But Herb Jones over 2.5 3-pointers. He sits in the corner, waits for those 3-point opportunities. I do like that. I still don't mind Herb Jones. I wouldn't take him for 4 or anything like that, but if we can take him for 3, I don't think that's such a bad play. What else has been cashing very well throughout this series? We've got Chet Holmgren and his points and rebounds, really. So take a look at Chet. Now, his points prop, 16.5. So it's moved up by 1 point, but you can get this for plus money. 26 points in that last game. He had 15 points in the first game. He's played the Pelicans 5 times this year, 19, 20, 16, 15, and then 26. He's had 2 games against the Pelicans on the road, 20 and 16 points. Now, firstly, how is Chet Holmgren getting these buckets? Well, with Valanciunas out there, who plays a lot of drop coverage, Chet Holmgren destroying him from the perimeter, really. A lot of perimeter play from Chet Holmgren, always putting the ball on the floor, attacking the basket. There's just too much speed for old Chet. So the concern for me in this is that it's a road game. So I want to have a look at his home and away splits. So average 16.6 points per game this year. On the road, 16.3. So I don't see a massive drop-off. 41% hit rate on the road, 48% hit rate at overall. So, yeah, there is a drop-off, but it's not a massive one here where I'd say not to take Chet Holmgren because it's a road game. We could look at is Chet's 3-point prop. 1.5 is minus 135. He made 3 3-pointers in that game, and a lot of it was early. So I don't know if I could take it at these odds, to be honest. Chet Holmgren's points 3-point prop has taken 6 attempts, though, in 4 consecutive games, 31% from the field. On the season, he's shooting 37%. So, yeah, I think he gets 2, but at minus 135, not the most arousing play, in my opinion. But what about his rebound prop? Because he's been pretty decent getting boards. Yeah, that's up to 9.5 plus money. He only had 7 boards in that last game in 28 minutes, and he had 11 rebounds in the first game. But Prior to that, the boards were coming in, but at 9.5, I don't think I could play that for Chet. That's a lot of rebounds he's got to get. And yeah, he's only getting about 17 rebound chances per game as well. So yeah, not loving that for Chet. Who else do we have here? Jonas Valanciunas. Now, this guy's been an absolute freak, especially in the first quarter. Now, the question is, does he play better at home? Does OKC need to make some adjustments? Well, I know the sports books have, because Jonas's points line is now at 13.5. And I don't know if I'd be willing to entertain that. He's hit this in 5 out of his last 10 games against OKC. And back in these days, he was probably, a much better player. So maybe if we look at his games at home, so he's cashed this in 2 or 5 games against OKC. So I think the value in Jonas points are probably gone. He's more than capable of putting that 19 points together again, but I think the value in betting in Jonas isn't there. His rebounds line, 11.5. Had 20 rebounds in the first game, then only 7 rebounds in the second. So I'm taking a look at the box score just to see what the difference is in his chances. All right. So I'm looking at the first game here. So in the first game, Jonas had 27 rebound chances, 14 offensive, 13 defensive, right? If we look at the second game, Jonas Valanciunas had 7 offensive rebound chances and 7 defensive rebound chances. So he had half the chances that he normally would. Now, what was different about these games? Well, the first game, OKC only won by 2. And then in the second game, OKC won by 30. So OKC were getting buckets. Now, if we think about how is this game going to go? Well, OKC, they're only 1-point favorites in this one. So the books are expecting a big improvement here from the New Orleans Pelicans, which I think, rightly so. So the score should be a lot closer to the first game where they played. And in that first game, Jonas was a rebounding machine. So this is box score for the first game. The line's only at 1 point. The Pels expected to keep it close. Now, how do they keep it close? We had Trey Murphy go off scoring. We had Jonas dominating the boards. Herb Jones didn't have the greatest game. CJ was okay, but I think Trey Murphy was the biggest difference maker. In reality, the difference maker was their defense. Have a look at these OKC Thunder players. Chet went under his line. SGA went under his line. Josh Giddey was terrible. Jalen Williams was probably the only player to cover their points line from this team. So defensively is where the Pelicans aimed up. It's not like their offense got a whole lot better, but they are at home and there is potential for that. But I'd probably bank on them being better defensively, to be honest. So, and if they're better defensively, I think Jonas rebounds could be a play here. Over 11.5 boards for Valanciunas. I think even if he falls somewhere between the 20 and between the 20 rebound game and the 7 rebound game, what are you looking at? 13.5 rebounds. You could finish on 13 to 14 boards, right? So the game plan there is if the Pellies can keep it close. And it's game 3. Hopefully they can keep it close the way that the Lakers do. So I'm not minding this for Jonas Valanciunas. He's going to get some minutes, that's for sure, because he has been getting 20 to 25 minutes in this series so far. And he's been somewhat effective in that time. So he'll definitely get a run. I'm not sure about his points prop, but I think the rebound prop, that could be there if you choose to decide on of New Orleans playing well and keeping this game close. So, yeah, I'll likely play the rebound prop. Let's have a look at Trey Murphy and his ability to score. We'll look at everything for Trey Murphy, to be honest, because he has been doing a little bit of everything. Now, his points line, 16.5. He only scored 8 points in that last game against OKC. He scored 21 points in that first game. They made some adjustments, and they managed to slow him down. 18 shot attempts down to 8. 12 three-pointers down to 6. So my concern is that the volume is not necessarily there for Trey Murphy. Does shoot a lot above the break. I think he'd be better for the run. I'm just not sure if I can take him for 16.5 points. Looking at his assists, that's at 2.5. Had 2 assists in both games, so that doesn't interest me. Rebound-wise, 4 rebounds and then 5 rebounds in that last game. So I did take his rebounds plus assists under 8.5. I don't want to run that back because that was quite stressful. So, yeah, I don't know if I can take anything for Trey Murphy, to be honest. Maybe the 3-point prop. Where's the 3-point prop at? 2.5. Minus 135. And, yeah, it really comes down to volume, doesn't it? You're going to need more than 6 3-pointers, I think, if Trey Murphy's to cash this. OKC, yeah, they do allow quite a bit of 3-pointers. Bottom 10 in 3-pointers allowed. So that means, Trey Murphy has to be that guy, right? It's Trey Murphy or CJ McCollum, potentially Herb Jones. So I wouldn't put it past Trey Murphy to bang some threes in this one, especially after a slower game. But head-to-head numbers looking more than capable, right? He's covered this line in 5 of his last 9 games against OKC. In those games, averaging 7.8 attempts. Now, I'm not expecting 5, but I do think he's capable of 3. In the past, what's he hit 3 on? He's hit 3 on 8 attempts. He's hit 5 on 8 attempts. He's hit 4 on 10 attempts. He's hit 4 on 6 attempts, right? So, yeah, I think there's potential that he makes it happen. At home, they should lift, right? They should lift. There should be an improvement here for the Pellies. And if they do, Trey Murphy could be going over. But the concern for these odds, minus 135, I do not like them at all. I'm just looking at Bet365 at the moment to see what type of odds they're giving out. And for Trey Murphy, I do not like those odds. So back to the drawing board we go. All right, so we've gone through Trey Murphy. Let's have a look at CJ McCollum. Very frustrating to bet on CJ McCollum, but he is the type of player that can pick it up late in the second half. So his points line has moved up. So this was at 20.5. I know that because I bet the under is 20.5. So 20 points in game 1, 15 points in game 2. His line's at 21.5. Looking at his previous games against OKC, 3 out of his last 8 games against them. Now, this is a home game after all, so that might change things up for CJ. But let's look at these last 2 games. 39 and 36 minutes played, which is good. 36 minutes in a blowout is great. So hopefully he keeps it close. We get at least 40 minutes out of him. Shots in the first game, only 14 in the second. The field goal percentage is not great, 41 and 43. His three-point shooting has been atrocious so far this season. So had he been shooting better from downtown, he'd cover his lines. Simple as that. Let's look at the season real quick. 43% hit rate on 21.5. Let's muck around with these filters and say with Brandon Ingram and without Zion. All right. Now, looking at the season with Brandon Ingram and without Zion, he's cashed this line in only 2 out of 9 games. So partly for the reason why I took the under. So that's not looking great. And that's enough reason for me not to take this. I understand he's at home and he could go over. I get that. But he doesn't score much without Zion. If we look at his assists, actually, and play around with the same filters, with Brandon Ingram, without Zion, in the 9 games, he's cashed his assist line 3 out of the 9 games, 6 in the first game here at the playoffs, and then 4 assists in the next one. So 5.5's the line. His potential assists, 10 potential assists, and you need 6 of those? No. So, yeah, I'm not saying he goes under, right? But if I can see a reason not to take a bet, I'm not going to take it. So what else is popping off on this screen, though? Let's muck around with these filters. Let's look at the last 10 games and see if anything is popping. Aaron Wiggins, bench player. Probably won't get too much of a run here on the road, especially if there's no blowout, so I'm not too keen on that one. You could look to fade Brandon Ingram, but again, this is a home game. And I know he's been poor, but let's take a look. He is their best player, right? 15 and 21 points and assists in his last 2 games so far this series. The under's cashed in 9 of his last 10, believe it or not. But let's check out his games without Zion. All right. So last 10 games without Zion Williamson, the under is cashed in 6 out of his last 10. So he's not too far removed from having a big game, right? Sacramento in the play-in, he got busy. OKC, he's had his struggles, but back at home, Brandon Ingram might be better. And because he might be better, I'm not willing to take that bet. Sorry about it. Now, SGA. Now, his points props one that interests me. Now, why the hell do I say that? Let me explain to y'all. So, 28.5 points his line, 28 in the first game, 33 in the second. Why do I like this? It's because on the road, what you traditionally find is a lot of the role players tend to struggle, which means the stars need to pick up the slack, right? Think of Jalen Brunson. Not struggled, but yeah, he struggled. He struggled first 2 games at home. Role players picked up the slack, went to Philly. Role players kind of took a step back. Jalen Brunson took it upon himself. They still lost, but bigger game for Brunson. And I think similar story here for SGA. On the road, I think he's going to be relied upon a lot more to get some buckets. I don't know how Chet's going to go on the road. I don't know how Jalen Williams is going to play on the road. I have a feeling Josh Giddey's going to be terrible. But SGA, on the other hand, what can you say? shot the ball 24 times in game 1, 19 times in game 2, shot 68% from the field. He's barely getting to the free throw line in this playoffs, though, which is quite strange. You'd think he'd be able to milk a lot more and get to the line. But his points line at 28.5. I think this game is set up for him. It's going to be close. It's going to be gritty and grindy, so it's not going to be too much transition involved. The points total set at only 200, right? 201? 208, my bad. 201 was the last game. 208, which is quite low, and that's because the first two games were low, right? The first game was under 200. The second game, barely over 200, and that's because OKC blew the lights out of the Pelicans. And yeah, I think this game remains close, somewhat lower scoring, and someone like SGA is going to have to be the guy to get those buckets. So I do like that. If it was like 30.5, I probably wouldn't take it, but at 28.5, it hits 68% of the time this year. And against these Pellies, he's hit it in 6 out of his last 10 games. Maybe if we muck around with only the games, check this out. These are the games in New Orleans. He's cashed in 4 out of his last 5 games. His most recent game, he went under 24 points, 9 for 20 from the field, 5 for 6 from the free throw line, 1 from 3 from deep. So somewhat average game there for SGA, but this is the playoffs, baby. This is where the stars come out to shine. SGA to get some buckets. I don't mind that. Let's have a look at his assists. 5.5 assists, 3 out of his last 10. He's gone under in both of his games so far this season, this playoffs, but the under the odds are terrible for. So let's not look at that. Rebounds, 5.5, 6 in the first game, 3 in the second. Hasn't rebounded well against the Pelicans so far this season. So yeah, I think maybe an under in his rebounds plus assists could be a play here. So he's gone under in the last 2 games in this series. He's gone under in 6 of 10. 6 of his last 10 games against them. Looking at his last 10 games, he's gone under 10.5 in 6 of his last 10. On the season, it's not great. He's only gone under in 35% of his games. But the head-to-head matchup here, where the Pels throughout the season, the fewest rebounds to point guards and the 6th fewest assists, I think the Pelicans are going to be better defensively in this one. I think SGA is going to have to score some buckets. So I might have spoke myself into this. Could we look at a value play here of SGA over points, under rebounds, under assists, perhaps? Or maybe 2 separate plays on SGA. Because I don't want to bet on too many players today. But this SGA one, I feel like I got a good read on it. Like, he only had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 5 assists, and 3 rebounds. Both of these games, OKC won. Now we're rolling into game 3. OKC is still favored, but the Pelicans are expected to be better. And based on the numbers here, I think they're expected to be better defensively, not so much offensively. And if that's all true, how's SGA going to get his rebounds and assists? So, yeah, that's what I think about SGA. I like his points, and I like the under in his rebounds and assists. Who else we got? I want to talk about Josh Giddey because my gut says to like the under on Josh Giddey. Now let's go straight to PRA because that's what I'm thinking. So 20.5. Looking at the under. So this line's moved down, actually. It was 21.5 in the last game, 19.5 now. So the bookies might be onto something. 3 out of his last 10 games, this has gone under. If we look at his games against the Pels, he's actually had pretty strong games in the past. So my whole vibe around the under is purely because he played poorly in that first game. The second game, he got a lot of this shit in garbage time, but I think this game's going to be tightly contested. But in saying that, I do like the SGA play more than Josh Giddey. So I'm not keen on fucking around with my mate from down under. That ain't going to happen. Just checking to see if there's anybody else that piques my interest. Larry Nance, I took his rebound prop in that last game. Can we run it back with Larry Nance boards? It was 5.5 and it was plus money. So it's still 5.5 and it's minus 120. Okay. So he's covered in both games against OKC in this playoff series. In head-to-head matchups in the past, hasn't been great. He only got 14 minutes in that last game, blowout and all that jazz, but he rebounded very well, especially offensively. 3 big offensive rebounds. So he does have a good rebounding profile against this team. So Larry Nance rebounds could be a play for me as well. So what I'm going to do, when I go back, I'm going to eliminate a lot of these plays. Not eliminate, but I'm going to pick my favorites. We'll play those as single bets. The ones we don't choose to play, we'll reduce them down and we'll put them into a BAP. That's what I'm thinking. We'll do that. All right. So there's Larry. Is there anybody else in this game I'd think about fucking with? No. All right. Jump into the next one. I've been recording for a long goddamn time. This has been a longer time process than the other one. So this could be a 2-hour video, but no, I'm going to be a lot quicker. Let's move. Boston versus Miami. Jimmy's still out. Terry Rozier's still out. DeLon Wright's a game time decision. So no massive movements here. Boston 9-point favorites on the road, seeking redemption. Surely they get it right. But there's got to be a response. There needs to be. So let's talk about what's been working for us lately. In this series, Bam Adebayo's points. That's been cashing nicely. So let's take a look at his points prop. Now it's at 19.5. So it has been moving up. 24 and 21 points in the last 2 games. He's at home and against Boston, had a bit of success against them this season. 1 over, 1 under. Both of those games were at home. So, yeah, I'd lean the over here for Bam. But the volume wasn't necessarily there in that last game. I feel like we got lucky. Got to the free throw line a lot. But 13 attempts, I would not take Bam Adebayo to score 20 points if he puts up 13 shots. So I'm a little bit hesitant on that one. His rebound prop, 9.5. So he had 10 boards in that last game. Miami, great defensively. Boston only managed to score 101 points. So this particular game, I'd think about taking the under for Bam, but it would be close. I think it'd be pretty tight. The under is plus money, though. Plus 102. He's cashed the under in 63% of games against the Boston Celtics. Celtics favored to win this game on the road. We can actually filter this by losses, but I don't know how much it's going to help us. No, that's just going to burn some time. So I do lean the under for Bam's rebounds. I don't think like that last game might be the highest rebounding game gets this entire series where Miami actually win it. So if the Celtics are better, I don't like Bam's chances of getting boards, but playing under in rebounds, yeah, it's not a fun way to bet. But let me just add this to my short list because I do like it. Let me have a quick look at his rebound chances in that last game because he had 10 boards. Let's go to Bam. So Bam had 15 rebound chances and he had 10 rebounds. In game 1, let's check to see what he got in that game. So in game 1, Bam had 11 rebound chances. So we had a game where they got blown out. He had 11 chances. We had a game where they won. He had 15. Let's just meet in the middle. Let's say, right, he gets 13 rebound chances. He's probably finishing on about 8 boards in this game. I expect this game to be close. I expect Boston to win. They'll probably win by a 1 to 10 margin. And I think that's honestly enough if I think about the response here. But look, you got to keep in mind, Miami is at home though, right? Miami is at home. We saw that, Mavericks stole a game, came back home. We had the Pacers steal a game, come back home. Both of those teams won, but it was a pretty tightly contested game. Indiana won by 3, Dallas won by 11. It was a close game. So yeah, I'm not too sure anymore. I've talked myself out of it. I'm taking Bam Adebayo off the list. Anything can happen. All right. Whereas, and look, I think the reason why this exercise is important, what I've traditionally done is when I go through all these props and I'm just adding shit to my short list, I keep adding them. Sometimes when I go over them, I'm already biased because I'm like, I like this. I already know that I like it. So yeah, just doing it this way, put your shit up a bit for me. I think you win more bets when you decide not to play them. That's a true skill, choosing what not to bet on. Now let's check Tyler Hero. So his points and assists are the main ones that I'd be looking. Actually, he's been doing it all: points, rebounds, and assists. So I've seen 2 different Tyler Heroes. One where he scores 11, another where he scores 24. His line's only at 20.5 here. Back at home, in the 2 games, he's only taken 13 attempts in both games. The difference between the 2 is his pointers, 6 from 11 threes. So he's taken a lot of 3-pointers here. Like 75% of his shots are from downtown and free throws. So given the volume here, if he's taken about 10 threes, over his last 10 games, he's shooting about 40% from deep. So his line's at 3.5 and it's plus money. So I think that could be a good play if you back in Tyler Hero to shoot better at home. But he just shot the lights out and I'm a little bit, I am concerned they're not going to let him do that again. So I don't like the 3-point prop. I found a reason not to bet it. What about his assists? The line's at 6.5. Had 14 assists in that last game, which is crazy. 4 assists in the first game. If we meet halfway, what are we looking at? 8 to 10 assists potentially here for Tyler Hero. So yeah, I don't hate it in head-to-head matchups against Boston. He has only cashed this twice, but let's remove Jimmy Butler from the lineup. Without Jimmy, he's cashing 2 out of his last 5. So 2 of the games he did cash, there was no Jimmy Butler. In the games he didn't cash, what happened? This is a low-scoring game, which Miami won. He finished on 6. Miami lost this game, and he finished with 4. And then he had 4 as well. So I think it really comes down to the potential issues. Well, one thing to keep in mind, right? Miami shot the lights out in that last game. Do we think Miami's going to shoot that many three-pointers again against Boston? That's what I'm a little bit hesitant about. So, yeah, I'm not going to take any Tyler Hero points bets. But what about his rebounds? What do they look like? 5.5. Gone under in his last 2, but the line is still at 5.5. So what does that mean? We're expecting more, perhaps? Yeah, I don't know. Tyler Hero's line seemed a little bit sharp to me, so let's carry on and see what else we can find. So I don't like Tyler Hero. What if we fuck around with these filters for a bit? What's the last 10 tell us? Our last 10, we got Sam Hauser covering. So is Sam Hauser going to get some minutes, potentially? I did take him for 2 3-pointers in that last game. Let's just take a look at Sam Hauser. 3-pointers made, 1.5, 125. So the odds aren't terrific for this. Let me double check it. Sam Hauser, 3-pointers made. Yeah, the odds aren't terrific for that. I don't like it. Minutes are down. Made 4 3-pointers in the first, 2 in the second. But yeah, the minutes aren't there. So I'm not man enough to bet Sam Hauser. Peyton Pritchard, points plus assists. So he's part of the regular rotation in this game. The question is, does Boston play less of their bench and more of their starters? So he cashed in the first game, more game time, predicted blowout. Second game, did nothing. So got 3 assists in that one. I'm not willing to have a taste on him. Al Horford, I backed him over 6.5 points and didn't deliver. So even when he's on there, he ain't doing shit. So if you're looking at Boston, you really got to look at their big players and see who brings home the bacon. I think in that last game, it was Jaylen Brown who actually had a pretty strong effort. Let's have a look. Jaylen Brown, his points line's at 21.5, scored 33 points in that loss, 17 in that first game. Only scored 17 in that first game because everybody was cooking. In his field goal attempts, 12 attempts in the first one, 23 in the following game where he killed it. If we look at the head-to-head matchups, he's covered this in 7 of his last 15 games against Miami Heat, which is not ideal. Somewhat inconsistent. So I don't know if I can bet on Jaylen Brown here. What I do think could be a good play is his rebounds. So in the last game, I had his rebounds as a lean. I didn't take it, and it cashed. So he's had 8 rebound games, 2 games in a row. Now, in this particular game, I don't think Boston lets them take and make as many 3-pointers as they did in that first game, and there's going to be some rebound opportunities. So I think Jaylen Brown rebounds could be a good look. But then another one that could be a good look is Jason Tatum. So Jaylen Brown's covered this twice. 8 of his last 15 against Miami. And his recent trends are a little bit all over the place. 5 out of his last 10. But the rebound chances have been there in this series. Fucking hell, I did it again. This is what I'm talking about. I was sharing the wrong screen. Jaylen Brown. 6.5 to the line. 5 of his last 10. Last 2 against Miami. He cashed in. I apologize. My skills on this one have been all over the place. They've been ass. So having a look, in game 1, Jaylen Brown had 17 rebound chances. I'm not going to share the other screen anymore just in case I fuck it up. And then in game 2, how many rebound chances did my boy get? So I'll talk through Tatum and Jaylen Brown at the same time. So in the second game, Jaylen Brown had 10 rebound chances and still finished with 8. So he had 17 in the first game, got 8. 17 in the second game and got 8. So they got out-hustled, really. Miami was killing them. Jason Tatum only had 11 rebound chances in the second game. So that's not great. And I can guarantee what his line's most likely 2 points. 2 rebounds higher than Brown's. Where's your rebounds, boy? Well, he had 8 boards, yeah. So his line's at 8.5, 10 in the first game, 8 in the second game, 8 rebounds on 11 chances. Not too bad either. But I think Jaylen Brown having a line 2 rebounds lower than Jason Tatum, I think there's better value there, given their rebound chances are quite similar. So Jaylen Brown's rebounds has made my list. Now for Jason Tatum, I want to take a look at his points. I don't like betting his points, but let's have a look at it. 23 in the first game, 28 in the second game in a loss. So when the Celtics, when things get difficult for them, it comes a Tatum and Brown show. And I don't think this game's going to be necessarily easy for him. So he could get some shots up. 41 minutes played in both games, 18 and 20 shot attempts. 1 from 8 in the first game, then 2 for 6. Now, in this game, the last one, he made his first 2 3-pointers, then he missed his last 4. So Jason Tatum struggled. I don't think I'm brave enough to bet on his points prop, not going to lie. His assist prop, that doesn't interest me. He had a 10 assist game, then a 3 assist game. You fucking tell me how he's going to go. So, yeah, that Tatum side of the ball, I don't think so. Who else have we got in this game that could be value? I've got the filters set. We're looking at last 10, but let's have a look at the last 5 and see if we can see anything juicy coming up here. Actually, let's look at head-to-head data. Just the head-to-head stuff. We'll filter it that way. Drew Holiday to get 1 block. I know that was a popular play last time, which cashed, I believe. But I don't know if I could. Yeah, I probably could take it again, not gonna lie. But it's 1 block, right? You'd be sweating the 1 block the whole time. But I will tell you, he's hit this in 5 consecutive games against Miami, and he's hit this in 7 of his last 10, if that means anything to you. Another one that could be there is Jaime Jaquez, under 4.5 rebounds. So he's gone under 4.5 rebounds in 4 consecutive games against Boston. If we look at his games without Jimmy, 3 games without Jimmy, and Jaime Jaquez has gone under this rebound line in all 3 of them. So I'm looking at the last game in the rebound chances. Jaime Jaquez only had 5 rebound chances in that game, and Miami were great. So if you're expecting this game to be even closer, Jaime Jaquez, the rebound opportunities may not be there. So 5 rebound chances, and he needs to get 5 rebounds. What did he get in the game prior? 7 rebound chances in the first game, and he had 5 rebound chances in the second game, and he finished on 2. So Jaime Jaquez, under on rebounds, that could be a good look. No DeLon Wright. No, DeLon Wright, he's not out, but he may be. But I don't know if that's going to impact Jaime's minutes. His minutes, 35 and then 30 minutes. Yeah, so it might impact him by 5 minutes, but I think that's probably the risk there, actually. The risk is that he could play an extra 5 minutes. He played 35 minutes in this first game where Miami got blown out, and he had more rebound chances. In this game, it's probably going to be closer, so those rebound chances could potentially be there for Jaime Jaquez. So I'm going to choose not to take it because I'm trying to talk myself out of taking these bets. Remember that. What else looks like a decent play here? Jaquez under 1.5 steals and blocks. Let's check that one out. So he's had 1 steal in each of the 2 games this series, but he's gone under in 4 straight against the Boston Celtics. His last 10 games, the under is cash in 7 of his last 10. It's minus 135 apparently. Let me check my sports book. Bet365. And Jaime Jaquez, the unders, yeah, the unders aren't great, but I think that hits. Under his steals and blocks, I think it hits. It's just not great for a value play. I'm not a value play, for a straight bet for me. So I won't be betting that. DeLon Wright's 3-point prop. He's hit that in every game he's played, but he's under an injury cloud, so I'm a little bit hesitant. And I also get the feeling the Celtics are not going to let these guys get off as many 3-pointers as they once had. What else has been hitting quite well? Tyler Hero to get a steal or a block. The odds are pretty shit for that. Let me muck around with these filters. 150 is not doing it for me. That's why all these shit things are coming up. Let's go 125. All right. Looking at 125, what comes up? So Nikola Jovic had a great all-round game in that one. That was pretty crazy. I'm not sure if I'm willing to fade him in this one. Kristaps Porzingis, over 16.5 points. So he was terrible, actually. This could be the play here. Kristaps points. He was awful in that last game. Awful. Everyone was saying, put him on your ban list. Like, Vegas called, yada, yada, yada. So Porzingis played 30 minutes. He shot 1 from 9, which is not like him. 0 from 4. The volume's not great, but he was playing shit, right? So he didn't get as many minutes, and it turned into the Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum show. So I feel like Porzingis comes out and kills it. We've got to get a bounce back here, right? Let's look at his last 10 games. That is by far the worst game he's had. Let's go his last 20. His last 20, yeah, that is the worst game he's had in over 20 games. Look at the season. The graph's quite small. 59 games. He had a year where he had 2 points, but he was 1 from 2. So he probably got injured in that game. What's another 6-point game? This one. 6 points against the Houston Rockets. Where's the Houston Rockets? Is it that one? Hang on. Houston Rockets on January 14th. Here it is. It says he was 6 from 11. Oh, no. It was against Milwaukee. My bad. What am I talking about? Oh, it's right here. The numbers are here. So, against... This is against the Raptors. And then this game here. He was 3 from 9. Okay. 3 for 9. Finished on 6 points.
So he's pretty awful in that too. What did he do the following game? Came back, bounced back well with 17 points. This game where he scored 2 points. His next game, let me zoom up a little bit. 19 points. This game he came back with 21. Yeah, so it's rare to see some 2 very bad games for Porzingis. Like this one is awful, 6 points. I'm feeling it. I'm thinking I'm going to bet Porzingis overs in points. You're going to bounce back today, Kristaps, or what? We might even run back his first quarter points. So the line's at 4.5, which is so low. It's disrespectful for Porzingis. So I might even have a stab because he's hit this line at 69% this season. In head-to-head matchups, he's covered in 3 of his last 5. So he did score nothing in the first quarter of that last game. They always feed him early. And I think if Kristaps is going to cash his total points line, he needs to cash his first quarter points line. So I think I'm feeling about going all in on Porzingis here. I'm thinking Porzingis and Jaylen Brown are the only 2 bets that I take in this game. I think I might even take Porzingis like over 9.5 or whatever the best thing they can give me in his first quarters because I think my man goes bonkers today. Where is Porzingis? Yeah, so his line's at 4.5. If you take Kristaps for 7, you get plus 220 odds. And if I take him for 10 plus 700, we're right in the Kristaps first quarter ladder tomorrow, lads. Well, I know I am. So, all right. So I like what I see. Porzingis has a big game. Jaylen Brown keeps rebounding. Copy. That's going to happen. For the Heat, not really feeling too much in that one. So let's jump into this Lakers-Nuggets game because I need to get this video out to you. And I'll probably be recording for 2 hours, which is sickening. Now, we'll filter by head-to-head data, and let's just talk about how things are going and how we expect some players to respond. Let's start with LeBron James. Now, I think LeBron James, points plus assists, is going to cash, right? I don't care about these trends. It's cash in 11 of his last 13 games. The under, I don't care about that. I'm looking at the over here. He's covered this line in only 2 of 13 games against the Denver Nuggets. But LeBron James and the sports books, they've set this line this high for a particular reason. Now, LeBron James, when facing elimination, goes off. So check this game out. 40 points, 9 assists the last time he was facing elimination. That was last season against Denver. And what did he do in that game? He shot the ball 25 times. So we're talking about volume here. The 9 assists, yeah, it's not the greatest, to be honest. Let's break his lines up, actually. His assist line's at 8.5, which is the same as the last game. His points line has moved up to 26.5. So what's he done so far? 27, 26, and 26 in the 3 games. I think I'm just going to take LeBron James points prop, to be honest. Because, look, let me tell you something about LeBron James. This man is going to pad his stats. In this last game, even though the game was lost, LeBron was attacking the rim, trying to get some easy buckets, still trying to rack up some stats. Now, if the Denver Nuggets are winning this game, LeBron James, the sole thing he's going to be doing is trying to score. He's not going to try to win the game. He's not going to play defense. He'll probably be cherry picking, leaking out early. LeBron James is going to cover his points prop tomorrow. Now, I'm not even using data to make this bet. This is my knowledge as a basketball player, mixed in with a bit of my hate for LeBron James. He's going to cover this points line tomorrow. He's going to be an absolute beast, I can tell you that. Because if this ship goes down, eventually they got to stop blaming the coach. Eventually they got to stop blaming D'Lo, right? Like D'Lo had one awesome game in this series. Still lost anyway. LeBron James and AD are meant to be your best players. The blame should fall on them. And I think LeBron's going to go out there and score a shit ton of points. And Denver is still most likely going to win this one. So LeBron James, his assists, potentially, right? I don't love his assists, given I have the thought process he's going to score a lot, but he could come out there and do 15 or 20 assists, and that would be crazy. So what else do we think could happen in this game? AD, looking at his points prop, he's been covering it very well. 3 consecutive games he's gone over it, 30-plus points in 3 games, 32, 32, and then 33. His points line has moved up a little bit to 26.5. Now, what did AD do in that last elimination game against Denver? Scored 21 points. Played 40 minutes, and he shot the ball 15 times. These days, right, more aggressive. He's getting up almost 20 shots per game. So I'm not saying to take Anthony Davis's under here, but if LeBron James is going to shoot a lot more, I'd probably be a little bit hesitant to take the points prop on Anthony Davis. But his rebound prop, that could be a play. Could it? 13.5. He had 15 rebounds in that last game. He's covered in 2 of the 3 games this series. I'm going to take I don't even need to look at his rebound chances, right? Because this motherfucker's going to get him anyway. Looking at the head-to-head data, last elimination game, he had 14 boards. 14 boards, 13 and a half for plus money. It's not too bad. I think it'll be a little bit of a sweat. Yeah, I'm not loving it, but I do think he goes over. I'm just letting you know. Who else is there? We've got MPJ. Now, this rebounds plus assist line is very interesting to me because his rebound line at 7.5. I've been taking that, right? 2 games in a row now. I might have taken it for 3, but his rebound line has been great to me, which is cash in 3 consecutive games. So his rebound line is at still, and it's plus money. Look at his rebound stats against his team. 10 of his 12 games against the Lakers he's covered, averaging 9.1 rebounds per game. He didn't even cover. He only had 1 rebound in the first quarter, and he still managed to collect all these boards. Aaron Gordon had boards, which is extremely. That's not like Aaron Gordon. Jokic had 15 boards, and MPJ was still able to get 10 rebounds. So, if we look at the elimination game last year, he had 10 rebounds in that one. So, I think I'm willing to roll the dice here on MPJ. His rebounds, I've seen enough because Aaron Gordon, I don't like his rebound prop purely because he's the key defender on LeBron James. I wonder how many rebounds Aaron Gordon had when LeBron James went off. Let's have a look at that. That's interesting data. All right. So, in the elimination game where LeBron James went absolutely mental, took a lot more shots than he normally would, Aaron Gordon had 6 boards, right? And back in this series last year, LeBron James was a little bit more aggressive trying to get to the bucket and score, made it difficult for Aaron Gordon. These days, LeBron's just chilling out there, racking up stats, not winning games. So he did have 15 rebounds in that last game. His line is still at 7.5. Now that's telling you something. 7.5 for plus money. He's cashed in 2 out of the 3 games in this series. One of the game he lost, he only had 7, and he had 15 rebounds in that very last game. And he could come back and do it again. I just got a feeling that he does not, so I'm not going to take that bet. I think the other pivot here for MPJ, if we don't take his rebounds, actually, the rebounds plus assists could be a good play because you technically need 8 rebounds and 1 assist. But keeping in mind, right, rebounds plus assists, he's covered this in rebounds alone in a majority of these games, right? And on the assist side of things, he had 3 assists in the last game, 1 assist in the game prior to that, no assist in the first game, right? But in that last game, he shot the ball extremely well. He was making a lot of tough jumpers. Look at his points. His points are amazing. 19, 22, and 20 in this series. Line at 17.5. The rebound prop, I feel, is a little bit more reliable because you just need him to get the rebound. Whereas when it comes to his scoring prop, you need him to get buckets. And he has been getting them. Don't get me wrong. His volume was pretty high, but he's shooting over 50% so far in this series. He's making and taking a lot of tough shots. The Lakers have to do something differently to stop this man. So, look, I could see him for 15 on the parlay, perhaps. But in terms of the straight bet, I'll probably just take the rebounds. Let's just be safe. Let's just take MPJ rebounds for plus money. I think that's a good play. Who else do people like looking at? Nikola Jokic. Now, I've been following along. I rarely bet on Nikola Jokic. His lines are always too high. His play is always unpredictable. So his line's at 27.5. He's gone under in 2 of the 3 games this series. In the closeout game last year, he scored 30 points, if that means anything to you. If you look at his assist prop, 8.5. He's covered that in his last 2 games, 2 out of the 3 games. In the closeout game last year, 13 assists for Nikola Jokic. So I don't mind the over in his assists, to be honest. It's not a bad play. His rebounds, 12.5. He's covered that in 2 of his last 3 games against the Lakers. And to close out that series, 14 rebounds. So I think a Nikola Jokic rebounds plus assists could be a good play. 22.5 rebounds plus assists. So he's cashed it in his last 2. He cashed in the playoffs last year against the Lakers. He was a beast. He covered it in 3 out of the 4 games. So this is a chance to close it out once again in LA with another triple-double. So I think the triple-double might be a good play, actually. What's Nikola Jokic paying for a triple-double? Let me double-check this, and I'll be right back. All right, Nikola Jokic to get a triple-double is paying $2.50. Now, I think we can get better odds for that. I'm just checking his rebound numbers. Actually, it's not a bad play because he has finished under 10, 11, 11. So I think his rebounds plus assists is a good play. A triple-double doesn't give you too much extra value. So I do think he gets a triple-double, but I'll most likely just play his rebounds plus assists here for Nikola Jokic. Fill up the stat sheet. up against these Los Angeles fakers. Why not? I got a feeling. All right, cool. What else do we need to talk through? We've got, is it Jamal Murray? So I know that me and a lot of other bettors out there have been burnt by his points prop, just waiting for him to eventually turn it on. And he hasn't gotten there yet. So I'm interested to see what his points line is at. 23.5, so it hasn't moved too much. So 22, 20, and 22 in the 3 games this series. The minutes are there, the field goal attempts are there, but the percentage is shit. 38% in all 3 games. He hasn't been. The Nuggets are winning, and he's not even shooting that well. So he's due to break out at any moment. I'm just not willing to keep. I just can't betting on him. I can't do that. But he has killed the Lakers in the past. So I get it if you choose to take the points prop. I just can't do it to myself. His assist line's at 7.5. He's cashed this in 2 out of the 3 games this series. Yeah, I'm not loving the assist play here for Jamal Murray, especially if I'm going to take Nikola Jokic rebounds plus assists. I'm not overly keen on. His first quarter assists have been banging, though. Check that out. 1.5. He's averaging 3 point something in this series, like 4, 3, and 3. So more than 3 assists in the first quarter is Jamal Murray's average. So that could be a good play. The odds are not terrific, right? But I think it's still it's not a bad play, I got to tell you. So I don't mind that for Jamal Murray. But look at things in the last 5. What shows up here? Head to head, sorry. Quarters rebounds make the list. Actually, they have a large sample of games. So, yeah, Jamal Murray's first quarter assist could be a good play. If you're just looking for a simple win, over or under, that's been cashing very well against the Los Angeles Lakers. There's a lot of pick and roll in and shit like that with the Joker. Even the Joker's, I wonder what his first quarter points prop is at, because sometimes he does and sometimes he doesn't. That's the problem. You feel like a piece of shit. But this series, he has been. Check that out. His line for the first quarter is 8.5. He's cashed that in all 3 games this series, but it is trending down. Feels like I'm doing Forex trading, but when it's trending down, you usually assume that it's going to keep going down. So, yeah, I don't think I can take his first quarter points prop. His assist prop's at 2.5, which hasn't been cashing. So he's just putting his head down. I think these two are correlated. So I think you know what a good play is? You take Jamal Murray over his assist prop in the first quarter, and you take Nikola Jokic over his points prop, because it's those two fuckers working together. I think that could be a decent play. At least you put half of what you normally would on that. So, yeah, that could be a wave. D'Lo, I think his confidence is absolutely shot, so I don't like the look of him. Austin Reeves was better in that last game, so this will be the last player I look through, and then I'm fucking got to extract the shit out of this thing. But Austin Reeves, let's just look at his points prop. 14.5 again. He scored 22 points in that last game. He has a good history against the Denver Nuggets. Back at home, Austin Reeves, not afraid of the moment, took 17 shots. So I don't think that's a bad play, to be honest, Austin Reeves. But I don't want to take too many players in the same team on the same prop. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think Austin Reeves is a good look. I'm not going to lie. But I think LeBron James is definitely the guy. I like his prop a little bit more. So I'm going to stick with LeBron James. I might fuck with Austin Reeves. But look, I think this video sucks now that I think about it. You guys are probably not going to like it. But if you made it this far, I do appreciate you. We'll get back to some better shit in the upcoming days, I'm sure. Hopefully we can get another winner, because we're running quite some time. So best of luck to us. Let's go.
Up to the channel because your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.